We've was expecting a special guest today, and he's on. Somebody just go ahead and bring him in, John. Maurice Creek, joining us. Mo, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good.
Man, there have been so many people just thinking about you, praying for you, and wanting your safety. And the news that you were getting out yesterday was the best news that everybody has heard in quite a while. But I know talking to you, I can hear it in your voice, the relief that you had. It was like a weight had been taken off of you.
Yeah, definitely a weight taken off me. Once I hit uh Bucharest, Romania, I feel like I could like relax and go about my day peacefully. Not have to worry about the bombs or a gunshot or something like that. Something that I've never experienced in my life before. So, um, it's crazy that now I'm at peace and I'm happy.
I can imagine there's a lot of people that your family, I can't imagine what your family was going through because I know how just people like myself that were thinking of you a lot. I can't imagine your family, what they were going through and how bad it was for them as well.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy for them. Again, just something that we never been through before. So for us to have to experience that off of trying to play basketball, something that I came to do and not have to worry about all the other tactics of it. But what I'm saying, it just happened to happen. What I mean, it's not their fault, but it is their country. What I mean. So now I'm stuck in it, but I didn't come here for that. What I mean. It's just a tough feeling to have. What I mean. So I know my mom is at peace now. I know my brothers are at peace. I know my whole family's at peace. My friends, everybody's at peace. And when I definitely touch down on in a couple of days, I know they'll be even more at peace.
What was the scariest
Mike,
moment for you, Maurice? What was the scariest moment?
What was the scariest moment?
Yeah.
Um, it was I think Friday night, right? So for me, um, I was just sitting there and you could just hear the bombs and there's multiple bombs that's just going off. And at that point in time, I was supposed to be figuring out a way to get out, and it just happened to fall through, and I was just like, you know what, I just don't know, like you know what I mean. I had to go into a bomb shelter. I had to go up. You know what I mean? It's just a lot that was going on, and I kind of lowered my faith after that because it was like that. It was like a couple of things that just fell through for me. It just kept falling through. And I'm just like, you know what? I might be stuck here. And after I got a call um from Eric, and he's like one of the guys for Project Dynamo. He was really great. Just keeping me in faith and all the people that cared about me. You know what I'm saying? Social media, people that I know, people that I don't know. They kept my faith high and and just kept it as a point where it said anything is possible. And um, when I started to be patient and I started to understand that it's going to happen, things started kind of reeling in, and it made it happen.
Mike.
I would ask, like, so what do you do now? I mean, what is your next step based on, what your experience has been? What do you do, with you'd certainly planned on completing your season and going through all that. What is your, what did you leave stuff behind? Did you in the evacuation were you able to get everything that you needed to go with you?
Yeah, so at first I thought I was not going to be able to bring anything back, but I packed the bags as if I was bringing everything back, and I actually got all of my stuff, which is great. I didn't have to leave anything behind. Um, as far as my next step, I know I'm just going home for the rest of the season. This is something that's put a mental and like physical strain on me, and if these teams can't understand that can't understand that, then I just don't need to play there. But having my mom cry every night, my dad worried sick, my brothers in different spots worried sick, my sister's worried sick. My sister calls me almost every day now, just to see what I'm doing and how I'm doing and stuff like that. My aunts, my uncles, everybody, and now even my friends, you know what I mean, and people that don't even know me are trying to feel about my whereabouts and stuff like that because they don't want me. They don't want to see me go. You know what I mean? And you just don't never know. In what I'm saying, your timetable, when is your time? But I'm happy that I had everybody and everybody had my back. You know what I mean? They didn't waver. They didn't stop with with everything they were doing. And like I said, it kept me in faith to get up out of Ukraine. And I'm glad I'm out.
I know that you've obviously gone through a lot, but what does this for you moving forward? Having all these people, I can't imagine that the outpouring of love and the concern. What does that do to you going forward? Because you've always been a person of faith and a high character person, but this is just something that just adds to that. It seems.
Yeah. Now that I've been through this type of situation, um, when I'm in another situation, I can just think about this and how I got through these type of times. You know what I mean? And anybody can use it. This just don't have to be for me. You know what I'm saying? You can see what I've been through. You see I got out, and you can use it in any type of way, shape, or form of your life. You know what I mean? You don't have to really use it as a basketball aspect. You can use it at any aspect of your life. If he can do it, I can do it, and that's all I've tried to bring out. Ever since I was in college and I've been through what I've been through in college, that was my motto. If anybody can do it, I can do it. And you know what I mean? That's what I want to install in anybody that needs to hear it.
And the reasons that you were actually there, if everyone doesn't know, is you were trying and wanted to leave, but you were having some issues with the team wanting you to stay, even though that you knew that there were problems. And that had to be very, very discomforting for you and very something hard to deal with.
Yeah, it was tough. Me and my teammates had meetings about it for weeks, and we were just, for me, I was kind of doing it too, like downplaying, like I don't think it's gonna happen. But after a certain period of time, I was like, you know what? It's a lot of mass media going on here. It's a lot of people talking about it. I think it's about time to get up out of here. So I was talking to my agent about it. A lot of the players had already left just off the strength. They basically was here for months. I had got there late December, so I didn't have no funds to just go out and travel and stuff like that because I help around the household at the house, and it's like, for me, it's like I need to pay my bills and stuff like that. I can't just travel without anything. Then you got to worry about a hotel, food, everything else. And so when I was terminating the contract, I'm just expecting that the president of the team is going to give me the funds that he owed me, and I can maneuver off of that. And what ended up happening was he was like he didn't want me to go. They need me for the team basically. They don't feel like nothing's going to happen in Ukraine. Uh, what else? I've had multiple, even after that conversation that I had with the president and stuff like that. I had multiple conversations after that with like coaching staffs and stuff like that, and they were just really alliterating the same thing, but they understood. So when I told my agent like it's time to terminate the contract, I'm just expecting to terminate the contract, give me my LOC, and go ahead and get to my other team with the money that they owe me. That's what I'm thinking. They turned it into a whole process of not trying to give me my LOC, not trying to give me the money they owe me. They was basically trying to say, like, we're going to hold your money and call it a buyout situation. Well, I already played 2 games for you, won you a couple of games that you have not won since in months. You have not, this team hasn't won in months. I came in and then won 2 games for them, practicing every day, all that type of stuff. I was like, nah, we're going to have to figure something out because You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of unfair on my part, and you just trying to kind of take over. And I think you just trying to be messy because of that. You know what I mean? So it was a lot that went into it, but they gave me some money for it. They didn't give me all of it. It still wasn't enough to go travel or none of that. It just was a lot going on, and then I'm trying to think on the dime, and I really couldn't do that just off the strength of. I'm just like, man, they're going to put me in a bad situation, and it just ended up happening.
Mike or Kevin?
Well, there's been a lot of talk, watching on the news about just the courage of the Ukrainian people standing up to the Russian army. I don't know if you could speak to that or what you saw in terms of people on the streets, battling and so forth. And what have you learned about the Ukrainian people through this experience?
They're very strong people. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to go down without a fight. They're going to, represent their country very well when it comes to this type of stuff. And I watched it at hand. Like, I'd be rolling past people, and me and my coach, when I was trying to get across the border, we drove by, it's troops on the bridge. They wouldn't let nobody on that bridge, you know what I mean, at one point. So they are definitely prepared for what's coming, and I don't want this to happen at all, but I don't think nobody does. But if it does, it's going to be a war, because they're not just going to back down to nobody.
Mike?
When you got there, how long did it take you to realize that this was going to be, this kind of circumstance was a possibility? How long? When did it become apparent that getting out was going to be the best move?
At first I wasn't thinking about it like that. So I had came like maybe December 24th, and we didn't have like a couple of meetings for like a couple of weeks. And I was going back and forth hesitant about it, because when I played here, I played in Ukraine 3 years. So when I was in Kyiv in 2016, 2017, the border was bombed. But everything went back to normal in 2 weeks. So it was basically like, they shut everything down, but everything went back to normal. When I was playing with Promete a couple of years back, that's when COVID hit. You know what I mean? So they had to cancel the league. Now, when it came to this situation, it's like, okay, it might happen, it may not happen. But then when I started hearing the mass media just keep budging about it, I'm like, you know what? It might happen. And that's when I was like, yeah, I think it's about that time to go ahead and just terminate the contract. And I did it well before the war. I was trying to do it well before the war, and they were trying to just hold it off. Oh, we'll take you to Lviv, Ukraine. It's another part of Ukraine. It's calm and easy, but it's still Ukraine. You know what I mean? So that's what I was trying to tell them. It's still Ukraine. And it was just a tough situation. Like I said, it was just bad, because I felt like they put basketball first, my life second. And instead of putting my life first, basketball second, I would have respected them more. You know what I mean? Off of that. You know what I'm saying? I just can't respect somebody who puts a sport before my life.
What does that do for you, Mo, going forward playing basketball? Because there are so many leagues that are like, Jordan holds, whether it's in Germany or Turkey or where there's as you know, there's so many different places. How difficult is this going to make it for you to be able to easily go back over to someplace in Europe or wherever that case may be?
Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult, especially for my family, because when you leaving and you going overseas, you actually putting that. I mean, because I didn't really think about this until now this year. Like, you really putting your life on the line. You know what I mean? It's you going over there. You don't know the language. You gotta hope somebody knows English, unless you're bilingual, and most of us are not that. You know what I mean? This is keep it an honest state. Most of us are not that. So you gotta go over there hoping somebody knows English. You gotta go over there hoping and praying that these people are about your well-being first and not basketball first, your well-being second. And in most of the times, it's not like that. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say it's like this situation gonna be easy. It's definitely gonna be tough for me now that I've been through this type of situation.
Kevin or Mike? Kevin?
Yeah, Mo, I'm just curious about just kind of the next step for your basketball career. You know, you're obviously going to take some time off, but what will you explore kind of after this, and how much longer do you want to play, and what are some of the other options for you overseas, you think, at this point?
Well, I don't have really have the answers to that yet, because that's something I'm gonna have to think about with me and my family. Just because like I've been through it, I know how serious this type of situation is. I'm not gonna sit here and say like everything is just gonna be back to normal. It's always gonna be something in the back of my mind that it hit me like, you know what, this can possibly happen. Or I'm really putting my life on the line every time I step over across seas. You know what I mean? Even when I was in Israel, you know what I'm saying? Israel is known for going to war. I forgot who they go to war with, but one of my good friends was playing in Israel last year, and bombs was coming out of the sky and hitting down. You know what I'm saying? He had the cameras for that. You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, some places may be better than others when it comes to the safety part of it, but we still going across the water as Americans. You know what I mean? So again, that's why I try to alliterate to all Americans, like, you got to make sure these people are about your well-being first, because if you got somebody like how I had it, you know what I mean, and they thinking about the basketball aspect and not thinking about, oh, this really might happen, we really might go into war. Now I'm the one that's stuck, and now they have no plan. You know what I mean, to get me out. Now I gotta put the faith in somebody else's hands to have a plan, and thank by the grace of God they had a plan.
Mike, if you have anything.
Yeah, all I'd say, Mo, is really happy for you that you're out, that you're safe, that you're coming back, and I'm, big fan of your game, and I know all you've been through as a player. So I'm really happy that everything's worked out for you. Couldn't be happier, and continued success and good health, and I'm sure your family's going to be really happy to put their arms around you in a few days.
Thank you.
And what does this do for you this year? And are you just going to take the entire rest of the year off and maybe do some camps? I know we talked about that possibility of getting back closer to just doing some stuff here at home.
Yeah, I think this time I need to take it for my family. You know what I mean? Just putting them through the stress of their son going into a war, and their brother, or you know what I mean, is going into a war. I think this is the time where I need to go back home and see everybody, love on everybody, let them know that, you know what I mean, I'm here now. You can go and easily rest, easily be at peace now with everything. So I'm not worried about playing this year. I don't know if I'll play next year. I have no clue. That's, like I said, that's something that me and my family are gonna have to talk about, because I do love the game of basketball, but at the same time, I did go through a life-death situation. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see. But I am definitely coming back to Bloomington in the summertime. I do want to do a basketball camp somehow, some way. I haven't been back in Indiana in years, and I think it's about that time that I come back and show my face in the city that I love. And the people, I know the people will be there to love on me, and I love the people as well.
I know this. If you were to be able to get to a game at Assembly Hall, you would get the loudest ovation possibly that building has ever had right now, without question. But if anybody else doesn't have anything, Kevin, is that it?
So, Mo, just some logistics. So you're in Romania now, is that right? Or where are you now?
Yeah, I'm in Romania. I'm in Romania right now, Bucharest. Funny story, I played here last year, so I know every spot everywhere. I think I'm gonna go get me some good food. I'm gonna go to actually one of my favorite spots and grab me some great food. So
What is that? I
yeah.
was going to ask you, what does that feel like to be able to go to one of your favorite spots? What was it like last night to get that first night's rest where you didn't have to worry, where you weren't up all night? You still may have been getting the phone calls, I know, but the rest knowing that you don't have to worry about getting out anymore.
I think it's a good feeling not having to worry. You know, it's a great feeling not having to worry. And the crazy thing about it was I felt more rested because I didn't really get no rest for last night because I was from car to car to car. And when I got some sleep is when I was in my last car going into driving to Bucharest. That was a 5-hour drive, so I got a little nap out of that. But I felt so relieved and so rested after that. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Even I felt more rest in that car than I felt in my bed. You know what I mean? So that just tells you how much of a relief it was for me to get out of there.
The plan to return to America is when? How many days before you come back to the States?
I'll be back in the States in a couple of days. Days.
That was this like a James Bond type of thing? Are you switching cars? You said you're in multiple cars. Is that the reason, or was it different drivers taking you different places? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was different drivers taking me to different places because you know, you got to go through every border for every spot that you go to. If it's not in the same country, you have to go through a border. So I went from Ukraine to the Moldavian border. I had to go through that. That was a driver. I had a driver at Moldova take me to a city called Iași. It's in Romania. And then from Iași, I had a driver for Bolt take me all the way from Iași to Romania, Bucharest. And that's a 5-hour drive. And he did not have to do that because it was a 5-hour drive. It's a long drive. But
was this Mikhail? I know there was one of the drivers named Mikhail. I saw. Who set this up for you? Who got this put together? Was this
my agent Jaeger?
He
set it up. Yeah, my agent set this up for me.
Did he? Who did he go through to do this? I mean, because it's got to be kind of hard to say, "Hey, I need some guys to get a guy out of the country." It's hard to pull that up in the Rolodex, man. I mean, that had to be a difficult chore for him to accomplish, obviously.
Yeah, he had to pull some strings. I know the last taxi I paid for, but I didn't care how much it cost. I just wanted to get to the spot where I wanted to go. You know what I mean? So I can be at ease when I get out. So the first 2 cars he already had on lock. Basically, hey, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. You're going from this car to this car. They're going to make sure you're good. I know them. Don't worry about it. Cool. You know, the second one, I had to really find myself, you know, actually a car that's going to drive me that long of a drive. And the funny story about that was the first car, he was like 3 minutes away, and he texted me. He was like, "I think your destination is wrong." I said, "No, I'm actually going to Bucharest." Cancel. He canceled the drive on me. I'm like, "Oh man, I might not find the driver." But then I tried it again. The guy drove up to us. He was like, "Are you sure you're going to Bucharest? You know that's a far drive." I said, "Yeah, I'm going to Bucharest." He's like, "All right, let's go, let's do it." And then we went on the road.
I guess Uber wasn't working too well over there, was it?
Yeah. How many total hours of driving was it to get from point A in Ukraine to point B?
I know from Mykolaiv to the Moldavian border, it was like maybe a couple of hours. Then I had to do all the stuff at the Moldavian border, which was hell. By the way, and so that driver just sitting there waiting for me. I told him, huh?
What was the issue at the border?
When you're at a border with like 600 people, And then you got car radius of 18 miles. It's tough getting in and out of there. It took me 9 hours to get out of that border. I was standing up for 9 hours
just to get through the border.
Just to get through the border. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Mm-hmm. So
wow.
It's freezing outside, wind blowing right through my clothes, everything. I had to go drink like 5-6 things of hot tea. You know what I mean? It's just it's tough. You know what I mean? It's just a tough situation to actually be in. So after that, I'm looking for my driver. Didn't know who my driver was. This dude is just walking behind me. I'm like, that got to be my driver, because he seen me. He looking at me. He don't know no English though, so I can't ask him. So I called my agent. I'm like, Jaeger, where's my driver? And he's like a short guy. He's like older. I said, oh, this is my driver. So we got in the car. Drove all the way to Yash. Yash took like 3 hours. Then from Yash to we just drove from the border to his house. That was like maybe like 30 minutes. And then from when I got the taxi from his apartment building to Bucharest, that was like 5 hours and 30 minutes. So I've been on the road all day.
Tired. Mo, we got to take a break. You're welcome to stick around. I definitely want to talk to you in the break for a second, no matter what. But Mike, I know you've got to go, but I'm going to thank you. I know we didn't get to do as much today, but I hope that we can cover back next week. But I'm glad to have all of you guys on together.
Thanks very much, Mo. Thanks, Jim. We'll see you, Kev.